So you've got an idea, maybe even a brilliant one, and you want to share it. But how do you make sure it actually lands? How do you turn a simple speech into something that really changes minds? Well, that's exactly what we're getting into today. We're going to build your argument from the ground up, making it rock solid and impossible to ignore.
I mean, think about it for a second. Why is it that some speeches, some ideas, totally reshape how we see things, while others just fizzle out? You've seen it, right? In a meeting, at a conference. What's the secret ingredient? It's not just about being a flashy speaker. It's about what's holding up your word.
And really, this is the whole game right here. A speech that's just a bunch of claims with nothing to back them up, it's just noise. It's a house of cards, the slightest push and the whole thing comes tumbling down. But an argument that's built on a solid foundation of proof, now that is something that can stand tall and actually make a difference. So here's our game plan. First, we're going to talk about the difference between empty words and solid arguments. Then, we'll go on the hunt for evidence. Where do you even find this stuff? After that, we'll open up your persuasive toolkit and look at the types of proof you can use. Then comes the crucial part, a 5-point inspection to make sure your evidence is legit. And finally, we'll put it all together to see how this turns a simple speech into real, lasting impact.
Okay, let's start with the big why. Why do we even need to bother with proof? Can't we just say what we think? Well, let's dig into the real purpose of backing up your claims.
Let's get on the same page with a super simple definition. Evidence is basically anything you use to prove your points. Think of it like this. It's the answer to that little voice in your audience's head that's always asking, "Oh yeah? Says who?" It's your proof, your backup, your receipts.
And here's what's so cool about using good evidence. It's not just about proving you're right. It actually makes your ideas clearer and way more interesting. It takes your opinion from just, your opinion, and turns it into a fortified, respectable position. But maybe the biggest thing it does? It makes people trust you. It builds your credibility so they're not just listening, they're actually hearing you.
All right, so now we know why evidence is so critical. The next big question is, where do you get it? Time to put on your detective hat because now we go on the hunt for the facts that will build our case.
You've got two main paths you can take here. The first is primary research. This is where you are the source. You're out there creating brand new information. Then there's secondary research, which is when you dig into the amazing work that other people have already done. Both are super powerful tools in your arsenal.
So with primary research, you can actually go out and conduct interviews, talk to an expert, get a personal story that brings your point to life. It's incredibly powerful. Or you could run a survey. This is perfect for when you need data on something that nobody studied before, or even better when you want to know what your specific audience is thinking.
And then you have the more familiar path, secondary research. We're talking about hopping online or diving into library databases. But here's the absolute #1, can't mess this up rule. You have to verify your sources. Seriously. If you use a shaky source, your entire argument is built on quicksand. You got to make sure you're pulling from credible, trustworthy places. Your own credibility depends on it. Okay, the hunt is over. You've got your raw materials. Now it's time to open up the toolbox and see what we can build with them. Let's look at the 5 main types of evidence you can use to make your argument persuasive.
First up, we've got statistics. Now this little cartoon says it all, doesn't it? Numbers can be incredibly powerful. They can show the scale of a problem or highlight a trend like nothing else. But you have to be careful because they can also be used to mislead. We've all seen it happen, and that's exactly what we want to avoid.
So to use stats the right way, remember that less is often more. Don't just bury your audience in a sea of data. Pick only the most powerful numbers and make them easy to digest. Round them off. Almost 70% is way better than 68.92%. Make sure they're recent, of course. And here's the big one. Make them relatable. Don't just say a number. Paint a picture. That's enough to circle the globe 3 times. That's what people remember.
Next in our toolkit, comparisons. These are fantastic for taking a tricky, abstract idea and making it instantly click for your audience. You can use a simile, which uses like or as. Building an argument is like building a house. Or you can be more direct with a metaphor. An argument is a house. See the difference? These create little mental shortcuts that make your ideas stick.
All right, tool number 3, quotations. This is basically borrowing a little bit of someone else's credibility, and it works wonders if you follow the rules. First, the person you're quoting has to be someone your audience actually knows and respects. Second, you have to quote them exactly and keep it in context, no twisting words. And third, try to use a source that's unbiased. If you only quote people who already agree with you, your audience might start to get a little suspicious.
Examples are another absolute powerhouse. They can be super quick and undetailed, just to clarify a simple point. Or you can tell a really rich, detailed story to create an emotional connection. You can even use a hypothetical what-if scenario to get your audience to put themselves in the picture, like, imagine for a moment that.
And our fifth and final tool, visual aids. Your charts, your graphs, your images, these help people see what you're saying. But be careful. Don't become a slideaholic. There's nothing worse than death by PowerPoint, right? Here's a great little rule of thumb. Take the length of your speech in minutes, cut that number in half, and add 1. So for a 20-minute talk, that's 11 visuals, max.
So you've gathered all this fantastic material. You're feeling good. But before you go public, every single piece of evidence has to pass a final quality inspection. Think of it like a safety check. You wouldn't drive a car without brakes, and you shouldn't deliver an argument with faulty evidence.
This is your non-negotiable checklist. For every single fact, quote, or statistic, you have to ask these 5 questions. Is there enough evidence to make my point, or am I making a huge claim based on one tiny piece of data? Is it accurate? Is it relevant, or am I just throwing in a cool fact that doesn't actually prove anything? Is it timely? And finally, is this source impartial, or are they pushing an agenda? If a piece of evidence fails any of these checks, you have to leave it on the cutting room floor.
Okay, you have done the work, you've hunted for evidence, you've picked the right tools, and you've run the inspection. Your argument is solid. So what's the payoff? Let's talk about where all this hard work gets you.
I just love this quote because it sums everything up perfectly. Anybody can stand up and just share a bunch of information. That's telling. But if you want to persuade someone, if you want to sell your idea, you need evidence. Evidence is what turns a passive listener into an active believer. It's the difference between, that's interesting, and wow, I need to do something about this.
So, as we wrap this up, think about that next big idea you have, the one you really believe in. It deserves more than to be just a fleeting thought or a collection of empty words. It deserves a rock-solid foundation. The only question left is, how are you going to build it?